Ladies and gentlemen, imagine sailing across the vast Atlantic where the waves stretch endlessly to the horizon. Now, picture yourself spotting a ship drifting aimlessly, its sails full, its deck eerily silent. As you approach, something feels off. There's no sign of life. No voices, no movement. Just the eerie creak of wood swaying with the ocean's rhythm. This is not a tale from fiction. It is a real-life mystery that has baffled historians, sailors, and researchers for over a century. A vessel was discovered, fully intact, its cargo untouched, its supplies still in place. The only thing missing? The people who had been on board. Their personal belongings remained: clothing, logbooks, food, and water sufficient for months. There were no signs of distress or violence, no damage that suggested a storm or an attack. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. Over the years, countless theories have emerged. Some claim a sudden seaquake or a waterspout may have forced them overboard. Others whisper of mutiny, foul play, or even supernatural forces. But the truth remains elusive, hidden beneath the waves of time. Even today, this case remains one of the greatest maritime puzzles in history. A ship that sailed with its crew, only to be found alone, drifting endlessly, its fate forever shrouded in mystery. When this vessel was first spotted, there was no immediate cause for concern. At a distance, it seemed to be sailing as any normal ship would, its sails catching the wind, carrying it forward. However, something was undeniably strange. It wasn't following a clear path. It drifted with an eerie aimlessness, as if there were no hands guiding its course. As those who first came across it drew closer, they called out, expecting to hear voices respond from the deck. Silence was the only answer. Once aboard, the mystery deepened. The ship was in near-perfect condition, no visible damage, no signs of struggle. The food stores were full, the water barrels untouched, and even personal belongings lay where they had been left, as if their owners had only stepped away for a moment. Yet no one was there. No captain, no crew, not a single soul. It was as if the ocean had swallowed them without a trace. Even more perplexing was the fact that there were no distress signals, no messages left behind, nothing to indicate what had happened. If an attack had taken place, there would have been some sign of a struggle. If a storm had forced them to abandon ship, the damage would have been visible. But there was nothing. The ship itself was perfectly seaworthy, yet its crew had disappeared without a trace. Theories have tried to explain why they left in such a hurry. Some speculate that they might have believed the ship was sinking due to a sudden water leak, leading them to abandon it prematurely. Others wonder if something unseen, perhaps something psychological, like mass panic, forced them into a decision that ultimately cost them their lives. But with no clear evidence left behind, these remain only theories, unable to fully explain the most haunting question of all. Why would an entire crew leave a perfectly functional ship, only to never be seen again? Over the years, countless theories have emerged. Some claim a sudden seaquake or a waterspout may have forced them overboard. Others whisper of mutiny, foul play, or even supernatural forces. But the truth remains elusive, hidden beneath the waves of time. One of the most baffling aspects of this mystery is that when the ship was found, its cargo was completely undisturbed. It remained secured, untouched by human hands or the chaos that would typically follow an emergency evacuation. Had pirates attacked, they would have surely looted its valuable goods. If a storm had forced the crew to abandon ship, there would have been signs of damage or destruction. But there was nothing, just a vessel continuing its lonely journey across the sea, carrying everything except its own people. Even more strangely, the ship's provisions, food, water, and other supplies, were found in abundance. There was enough sustenance on board to last for months. The galley, where meals were prepared, looked as though it had been left in a hurry, but not in a panic. Plates and utensils remained where they were, as if someone had been in the middle of eating or preparing food before vanishing. The cargo hold itself was completely sealed, its contents undamaged by water or external forces. This detail adds another layer to the mystery. If the crew had been forced to leave the ship due to an immediate and pressing danger, why had they left everything behind? Why would they abandon a vessel that still had everything they needed for survival? If they had planned to return, why had they never made it back? Historians and experts have analyzed the cargo and its condition over the years, searching for any clues that might explain why the crew would leave such valuable and necessary supplies behind. Yet, nothing provides a clear answer. The ship's log offered no sign of distress or warning in the final entries. There were no recorded issues that would suggest they were in danger. The presence of fully intact cargo, safe and untouched, suggests that whatever happened must have been so sudden, so inexplicable, that the crew had no time, or no choice, but to leave without taking even the most essential items. Some believe they may have feared an explosion, perhaps due to a gas leak from the cargo they were transporting. Others suggest they were deceived by an optical illusion of the sea, leading them to think their ship was sinking when it was not. But these are just theories, and none explain why no one ever returned, nor why no wreckage of lifeboats was ever found. As the investigating crew stepped onto the deserted ship, a chilling sight awaited them. Everything was in its place, as though time had stopped. Personal belongings, the things that sailors carried with them on long voyages, were still where they had been left. Clothing remained neatly folded in trunks, boots sat by bedsides, and personal journals were found open as if their owners had been in the middle of writing. Even the captain's logbook remained on his desk, offering no hint of disaster, no final frantic message scrawled in desperation. For seasoned sailors, their personal effects were more than just possessions. They were pieces of home in the vast and lonely ocean. No crew member would willingly abandon these items unless faced with an overwhelming force or imminent danger. If they had left in an orderly evacuation, they would have at least taken some necessities: extra clothing, food, water, or even a cherished keepsake. But instead, the ship stood frozen in time, with everything still in place, as if the crew had vanished into thin air. One of the most haunting discoveries was the presence of half-eaten meals left on the tables. It was as if the crew had been dining when something so sudden and terrifying occurred that they had no time to react. This eerie detail deepens the mystery. What could have happened that forced an entire crew to flee without even grabbing their essential belongings? More disturbingly, no signs of a struggle were found. No bloodstains, no overturned furniture, no weapons drawn. Nothing that indicated a violent mutiny or an attack. The ship was not in distress, nor did it show signs of damage from a storm. If the crew had simply abandoned ship due to a malfunction or fear of sinking, they would have taken at least some survival gear with them. Yet their lifeboat was missing, and they were never seen again. Historians and researchers have debated the implications of these findings for decades. Some suggest that a sudden and overwhelming natural phenomenon, such as a rogue wave or an underwater earthquake, might have caused the crew to panic and flee. Others believe they may have mistaken a temporary danger for something far more severe, leading them to abandon their ship in a rush. Yet, without conclusive evidence, all that remains are their forgotten belongings, sitting quietly on a ship that drifted alone across the ocean, holding on to the secrets of its vanished crew. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of this mystery is that there were no signs of violence, no indications of a struggle, and no evidence of foul play. When a ship is abandoned, there are usually clues left behind: a distress signal, a damaged hull, evidence of a fight, or, at the very least, a sign of where the crew went. But in this case, there was nothing. No blood, no broken furniture, no weapons drawn in self-defense. The ship remained eerily untouched, as if its crew had simply walked away without resistance. Had there been an attack by pirates, the ship would have shown signs of looting, and valuables would have been stolen. If mutiny had taken place, there would have been evidence, perhaps a confrontation gone wrong, an attempt to seize control, or damage to the captain's quarters. But here, everything was intact. The ship's log contained no entries suggesting discord among the crew. The captain's cabin was undisturbed, his papers and belongings still neatly in place. It was as if nothing unusual had happened, until the moment the crew disappeared. Even more unsettling was the state of the deck. The ropes and rigging were in order, sails were set, and there were no signs of damage from a storm or rough seas. Had there been a violent encounter, something would have been left behind. Torn clothing, scattered objects, or even damage to the wood from weapons or gunfire. Instead, the ship appeared as if it had been left in a hurry, yet with no indication of struggle or outside interference. Investigators searched for any explanation. Was there an illness that struck the crew so suddenly that they had to abandon ship? But if that were the case, where were the bodies? If they had been forced overboard, how had it happened so cleanly, leaving no mess behind? Some have speculated about an unseen natural force, poisonous fumes rising from the cargo, causing them to panic and flee into the ocean. Others suggest a sudden environmental phenomenon, like a rogue wave or an underwater earthquake, but none of these theories fully explain why an entire crew would vanish without a trace, leaving behind a ship that showed no damage, no signs of distress, and no indication of violence. The lack of answers only deepens the mystery. With no clear threat, no apparent reason to abandon ship, and no evidence of an external attack, the fate of the crew remains one of the greatest unsolved riddles in maritime history. For over a century, countless theories have been proposed in an attempt to explain what happened aboard this abandoned ship. Each possibility presents intriguing explanations, yet none provide a complete answer to the mystery. The disappearance of the crew remains an unsolved riddle, one that has puzzled historians, scientists, and maritime experts alike. One of the most common theories is that the ship fell victim to a sudden and powerful storm. The Atlantic is known for its unpredictable weather, and a massive rogue wave or waterspout could have struck with such force that it forced the crew to abandon ship in panic. However, this theory has a glaring flaw. If the storm had been so severe, why was the ship itself left undamaged? The sails were intact, the structure unbroken, and no distress signals had been sent. If the crew had taken to the lifeboat in a hurry, where had they gone? Surely, at least some wreckage from the lifeboat would have been found, but nothing ever was. Another theory suggests a more scientific explanation, a buildup of noxious fumes from the ship's cargo. Some historians speculate that a leak from the barrels stored below deck could have released toxic gases, causing the crew to experience dizziness, hallucinations, or even unconsciousness. Believing they were in grave danger, they may have fled the ship in an attempt to escape, only to find themselves lost at sea. However, if this were the case, why didn't they attempt to return once they realized the ship itself was not in immediate danger? And if the fumes were fatal, why were no bodies ever found floating in the water nearby? Then there is the idea of mutiny, a dramatic and violent rebellion among the crew. Perhaps tensions ran high, leading to a confrontation that escalated beyond control. In such a scenario, some might have forced others off the ship or taken the lifeboat to escape. Yet, once again, there are contradictions. If a mutiny had occurred, why were no signs of struggle left behind? There were no bloodstains, no broken objects, no weapons drawn. A mutiny usually leaves chaos in its wake, but here, everything remained eerily undisturbed. Some theories take a darker turn, suggesting that the ship was attacked by pirates or another hostile force. Yet, this explanation falls short as well. No valuables were taken, no supplies were stolen, and there was no evidence of combat. If an attack had taken place, why leave the ship completely intact? Pirates would have looted the cargo and taken anything of value, but instead, everything remained exactly as it had been left. Perhaps the most unsettling theories border on the supernatural. Some believe the crew may have fallen victim to an unseen force, an eerie, unexplainable phenomenon that took them away without a trace. There are whispers of ghostly interventions, strange sea creatures, or even disturbances from the unknown. The vastness of the ocean holds many secrets, and despite scientific advancements, there are still mysteries that defy logical explanation. With so many possibilities, the truth remains elusive. Each theory brings us closer to understanding, yet none provide a definitive answer. What truly happened aboard that ship may never be known. The only certainty is that an entire crew vanished without a trace, leaving behind only an empty vessel, forever drifting through the pages of history as one of the greatest unsolved maritime enigmas. Time has passed, but the mystery of this abandoned vessel remains as baffling today as it was when the ship was first discovered. Despite extensive research, countless investigations, and endless speculation, no one has been able to provide a definitive explanation for what happened. Every theory leaves behind unanswered questions, and every new attempt at solving the mystery only seems to deepen the enigma. Historians and maritime experts have pored over every detail, analyzing the ship's logs, its cargo, and the conditions at sea at the time of its discovery. Yet, the fundamental question persists. Why did an entire crew disappear without a trace? How could experienced sailors, trained to handle the unpredictable dangers of the ocean, make a decision that ultimately led to their vanishing? Why was the ship left completely undamaged, as if time itself had paused the moment they stepped away? Even with modern advancements in technology and forensic science, the case remains unsolved. Satellite imaging, deep-sea exploration, and digital reconstructions of historical weather patterns have all been used to piece together a possible sequence of events, but none have provided conclusive proof of what really happened. The ocean, vast and unforgiving, guards its secrets well. What makes this mystery so compelling is not just the disappearance itself, but the eerie sense of absence. Unlike shipwrecks or disasters where we can examine wreckage and piece together what happened, this case offers nothing but silence. No distress calls. No bodies recovered. No lifeboat ever found. It is as if the crew simply ceased to exist. Over the years, the legend has only grown. Writers, filmmakers, and storytellers have drawn inspiration from this case, weaving tales of ghost ships, supernatural forces, and time warps that swallow sailors whole. Some believe the crew met a tragic but explainable fate, lost to the unforgiving sea. Others entertain the idea that something more mysterious, something beyond our current understanding, played a role. Regardless of the theories, one fact remains. This ghostly vessel serves as a haunting reminder of the vastness and unpredictability of the ocean. It is a story that continues to captivate, a puzzle that refuses to be solved. No matter how much time passes, the unanswered questions linger, leaving us to wonder, what really happened to the crew of this ship? As we reflect on this extraordinary mystery, one thing becomes clear. The unanswered questions leave an indelible mark on us. The ship may be gone, but the haunting enigma of its crew's disappearance lingers on in the collective imagination of those who hear the story. Whether it was a natural disaster, human error, or something far more elusive, the ghost ship continues to drift through history as a reminder of the profound mysteries the ocean holds. In the end, we are left with a sobering thought that not all mysteries are meant to be solved. Some, like this one, live on in the shadows, urging us to ponder, to question, and to respect the vast, uncharted realms of our world. The ghost ship of the Atlantic, with all its unanswered questions, stands as a testament to the enduring power of the unknown.